Welcome to For Felliness, belysning.
You are not broken. You are
out of balance.
and there is a path home.
This is For Felliness, belysning,
From the Alaska akulfhednar
ancestral morning light for those
who have been through hell.
and are still standing.
This nonprofit has a sliding scale guidance
At akulfhednar.org/guidance.
for felliness belly snake
Begins now.
Every day, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiance, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder disappears, shattering a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them.
God Morgan, and happy Julian New Year. We celebrate today a new opportunity, a new possibility. And so today I want to talk about the every time it's the new year, new you trap. Science has proven now beyond a shadow of a doubt that all of those New Year's resolutions we made, many of them will fall by the wayside fairly soon as we get into this new year. But today I want to talk about a different piece, just a little, talking about falling into the understanding that we need change, that we need to be different somehow, that we need to be something else. So we'll talk about that today. Today, I also want to give a huge shout out. Excuse me. So, to dreamhost-hosting. They a wonderful group of individuals who provide hosting services here on the internet for all kinds of web benefit for your websites and the like. So check them out, as well as all of our other sponsors and affiliates at akumedia.akoutlaw.com/sponsors. I also want to give a huge shout out KWWP nonprofit radio, broadcasting our live single this morning. So check them out, kwwp.org, and there you can find ancestral, spiritual type of folk music, and just to bring that connection back to our ancestors. So do check them out. In addition, my friends and family at New Reality TV, newrealitytv.com, is a streaming channel dedicated to spiritual perspectives that can offer us a path forward and an understanding of really who we are and where we're going to go. So today we're talking about the New Year, New You trap. Every year, as we get close to the celebrating the Julian calendar change, we feel a need to aspire to better, faster, stronger, healthier, whatever. And we, most often than not, will find ourselves kind of dwindling down our resolutions and our needs for that resolutions. By January or February, some of them will last a little bit longer. But we're always setting these goals. Well, I would like to offer a kind of a different perspective of our New Year's resolutions. Instead of figuring out what we need to change, figuring out what works. Who we are at our core. We've talked about it before, as we've talked about the thought process coming in to our sensory input through the mood ring down into the well of the self. And in that well of the self are our virtues, our values, and our belief systems. Those, like the vision I was given of this thing called the well of the self, at the bottom of this well was rocks. And if I were to look into the rock, or into the well rather, down through the water, the beautiful mosaic of individuality that is laid there at the bottom is so beautiful, and it's so wonderful. And that's who we are. That's our self. That's those values and those virtues and beliefs and understandings that we've garnered from a lifetime spent of learning. And so we will grow into these. Now, many of these rocks are given to us at a very young age by those with whom we've extended some level of authority. So we've said, you're important to me, and you know more about the world, so I will take some of your values. And those values are placed in our well. Now, in many cases, some cases, those don't always mean that we're kind of stuck with them forever, right? We should constantly be evaluating our rocks to determine if those virtues, values, and belief systems really match the person we want to be. And we talk about a better version of us, of making things better, of making changes. Well, sometimes change is just simply understanding who we are now. We can't obviously make any change until we have some form of baseline of what we really believe, what we really understand is who we are. Generosity and hospitality and industrialness and courage and strength. All of these are pieces that exist within all of our wells. It's how big the rock is and how shapely it is that it helps to form that energy that we're bringing in through our sensory input. So, as we've spoken in the past, the sensory input, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the nose, the skin, all bring in sensory input into our processing plant. And that processing begins, obviously, at the mood ring. We've spoken about this before. But before it gets there, it's mixed with, obviously, our imagination, which is wisdom pulling forward, wisdom coming up, and injecting itself in that energy back now through the mood ring and down into this well of the self. Now, there's so many things to understand about the well because it's a very intricate, very detailed analogy that my ancestors have used to describe how what my role is in thought. Believe it or not, I have a fairly commanding presence in thought process, in every thought process that comes through. Every one of them I can actually change. I can alter in the direction that I want to go, that I feel is right for me. So we have this thing in the center of the well of the self, and it's like a very large tube. And that tube is what my ancestors referred to as the authentic self, as who we are, what we represent, what we really value in this life, okay? And that authentic self, many times we'll find ourselves kind of swinging outside of that authentic self so that we play a role for some level of society, some community, some group, someone. And we'll play this role where we act a certain way, we speak a certain way, we behave certain ways, because we're seeking approval of that group, of that society, of that community, whatever it is. It could be out with friends, it could be at work, it could be at in your relationships. All of these things, we have a role that we assign ourselves. Now, one of the things that I learned personally in my life as I was growing up, many times I was living outside my authentic self. I was very much a crowd pleaser, if you will. So I could play roles very well. But what I found was that it really wasn't who I was. It really was this other role I was playing, just to seek and acquire the approval of a certain group, right? So I would hang out with particular individuals with whom I thought there was value at the time. And one of the things that my ancestors showed me is how those values changed through the years. And those would become what I thought was my authentic self. I mean, I was convincing myself that this community was who I was, it's who I was about, when in fact it really wasn't. I was playing a role. Excuse me. So it's super important that we're constantly reevaluating what we are, who we are, what is in our authentic self. We speak about the well, and as I mentioned, there's a tube in the middle called the authentic self. At the bottom is a series of rocks, and they're all canted and sitting in different angles and different sizes and shapes and contours and textures, which then creates a difference within this energy. So this is how we are interpreting our sensory input. May or may not have anything to do with reality. It is the way we interpret it, right? So it's this energy is coming down through the well of the self. And the first thing that my ancestor showed me is that there's this well of the self is half filled with water. And if that water is still and clear and it's set for a few, all of the sediment within that well is just, it's all settled down now. And so we can clearly see from the top, we can clearly see what our rocks are. The mosaic, the beautiful mosaic of you, of what you believe, of what you hold dear. All of these things are in this rock form down at the bottom of the well. And that alignment, that assignment of different rocks of different sizes, of different importances to ourselves, establishes how big and how small or how smooth or how anything tilted, all of those things will apply now to those rocks that then will alter the energy signal coming down in through the well of the self. And again, the water being clear versus if we are struggling, we're having lots of thought process, we're just got a lot going on up there, and we're really thinking about a lot of different things at the same time. Everyday life, we find the water more agitated. It's rough, it's choppy, it's like it's being stirred with a crazy spoon, right? And so when it's stirred up like that, and the silt, the sediment now is coming up, and it's blocking that energy, that too alters the energy signal. So we're blocking what's coming down from the mood ring. We're altering it in a different way, right? What happens more often than not when this is all agitated and it's all churning up is as the energy comes down into the well of the self, into the water, it reflects out. It kind of bounces out and winds up hitting the wall, hitting the sides of the well. Remember, the well is like a straight hole in the ground, okay? And when that signal reflects or bounces off the wall, it chips away this thing that my ancestors referred to as silt. Silt creates its own biochemistry. It adds to the signal a residue, if you will, of this silt. Now, when the signal comes down through the well of the self and it gets all the way to the bottom, it's gone through all the values, all the virtues, all the belief systems, all the rocks, and it hits the bottom of that well. It's converted now into biochemistry. This is where physiologically you're going to release hormones and adjust the pH balance in your bloodstream. You're going to do all the things that your body does. This is a very important part of understanding our interpretation. That biochemistry that is created there at the bottom of the well of the self represents that energy signal that is handed to it, right? So if we've got certain energies that are created from the mood ring that are dropped through the well of self. Well of self is all choppy and it's really all cup. As that energy signal is bouncing around and doing all of it, what it does, collecting or subtracting certain values, when that signal gets to the bottom of the well of the self, it's converted as it is at that moment. Okay? So as it hits that, that's when it's converted. This means that it may or may not be reality, right? Because we may have gotten a feeling. This is where someone says something innocuous across the room, and we interpreted it wrong. We interpreted it incorrectly as not the way it was meant, not the way it really sounded, but because we have some virtue, value, or belief system that alters that sensory input, when the biochemistry is created, it's created on our interpretation, not on what was actually said and implied. Okay? In addition, once it's created into that once it's converted into the biochemistry and it starts moving through your body, then your body interprets some of it. Okay? So if we are out with friends and we're drinking, we'll have a very different response than if we were sitting at home and relaxing just relaxing at home, watching TV, right? So we'll have a very different interpretation. Why? Because the alcohol, in the case of the out drinking, is in the bloodstream. So the biochemistry is created, and now it's moving through the body, and it's going to move through this alcohol, which will additionally manipulate the signal. Okay? Because every place that the nerves have the synaptic cleft between them, right, and the signals have to move over through that cleft, it's an opportunity for the alcohol to manipulate the signal. And that's what it'll do. And so by the time the signal actually gets to our brain, or to the part that processes that, it could be very changed from the time it was converted. This is, we most often will see this when we're under the influence of something such as alcohol or drugs or even stress. Everything that we put into or that is in our body has the opportunity to manipulate the signal of thought, a signal of processing. And all of this is going to happen before we get to memories. Now, memories obviously go a long way in building the foundation and the underlying need of wisdom. And wisdom, of course, is the foundation at which imagination is now applied. So the cycle continues. So as we look into the Julian New Year, I want us to think about evaluating what's at the bottom of our well. What do we really believe, and why do we believe it? Constantly evaluating these rocks allows us to understand really, truly what our authentic self is. Now, I will say before we go to break that living authentically provides a stress relief unlike anything else you'll find. Trust me when I say, when I discovered it for me many years ago, when I discovered living my authentic life, it got so much easier. My life just reduced in stress by 70% the first day. all right? It reduced that far because I no longer had to struggle with interpretations, because interpretations, of course, you have to remember them. They stay in memory, and then they build wisdom, and then they build imagination. And this cycle now creates its own energy fields, for sure, but that we have to maintain. So remember, if we were constantly telling untruths to cover our insecurities, to cover who we think they think we are, what happens is we wind up having to remember those in addition to just living. So we don't want to tell Tom over here that, we are of royal blood, and then Bob over here, we're going to tell him something totally different. Now we're going to live with this kind of backward, in the back of our minds, fear that Bob and Tom will talk outside of us being there to separate, right? And so this becomes an underlying stressor, which then adds to the biochemistry and all kinds of things. So you can see how the cycle is really all about who we are, and living authentically is the fastest way, from personally speaking, for us to actually figure out stress relief, is beginning to live authentically. All right, before we get much further, those of you who don't know, this, of course, is a bag of the runes. The runes allow the gods to speak to us through characters on tiles. And these characters, of course, each letter provides a different energy. So today's rune, Hagalas, is how it's pronounced. Hagalas. Hagalas is a very good rune, and it's a very good rune for today, I think, because Hagalas speaks about rebirth. It speaks about changing for the long-term good. It speaks about really inner harmony, inner peace, inner understanding, and that's exactly what we're talking about here today. So I think Hagalas is the perfect rune for today. It is the rune of chaos, but we know as humans, part of what all of us will do to some extent is obtain order within the chaos of our lives. Hagalas being the rune of chaos, it speaks about obtaining order within that chaos. So today, perfect rune for today, Hagalas. All right. We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about how do we take this knowledge that we've gained here today and put on the road today, so that there are things that we can do today that help us to kind of move forward with more of a positive thing, positive attitude, and certainly a better perspective. But just as importantly, understand that the whole new year, new you thing doesn't have to apply as much as just understanding where you are today. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Walls of voice, then shared, turns myth, memory, and modern minds into bold prints that change a room. See today's feature pieces and more with a link in the description.
It's happening.
It's in the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Light the morning fire. Blackout coffee, roast bold. Clean flavor for long days and late edits. Grab your bag. Use the link in the descriptions below.
These words are stirring something heavy in you. You don't have to carry it alone. Sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours is available through the akulfhednar. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.
All right. Thank you for taking that quick break. As always, I very much appreciate it, and I hope that you will check out newrealitytv.com, streaming channel dedicated to a wide perspective of many different views of spirituality and journeys and paths that individuals have followed. So do check it out. You won't be disappointed. And in addition, KWWP, nonprofit radio, playing music and sounds of our ancestry, of cultures past, that can bring hopefully some peace and something that resonates within you. Well, today's show, as I mentioned, brought to you by internet hosting, a wonderful group of individuals who focus very much on bringing your internet web's presence to life, to help you in whether it be e-commerce, whether it be just presence, whether it be the showy, whatever type of website you may have. They are the ultimate places with plans that are very affordable, very manageable. So do check them out. All right. Today we're talking about the new year, new you thing. We're talking about really understanding who we are. We've talked a lot about intrinsic reflection or meditation, and we've talked about spending time with figuring out what are our beliefs. And that obviously, when we can figure out what we believe, what we understand, and certainly what our virtues, values, and belief systems are, we can begin to now manage that. What I mean by managing them is when we evaluate, say, we have a belief that air is not good for us. Okay, well, all right. How do we prove that? And if that belief system isn't serving us anymore, which it wouldn't, how can we change that? What steps do we need to go through to change that belief system, right? So the first thing you have to do is evaluate, obviously, where did you get this belief system? Who told you it? And why does it have so much value in your life? And when you can start picking these apart and looking at them, dissecting them, and determining its value to you now in your current form, then we begin to establish a baseline, really a baseline of who we are, and there'll be influences in our lives every day that will come in and they'll, oh, that's worth thinking about, or wow, ooh, no, not for me, thanks. All of these belief systems and these influences to our belief systems have to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. When someone tells us, hey, the world is flat, well, okay, I don't see that, but I'm willing to entertain your thoughts and say, you know what, even if I don't believe the world is flat, I don't criticize you for that, because that's your belief. I could offer you evidence that I've been given and say, this is what I've been shown. But again, each of us has to go through that process of evaluating those beliefs and those understandings that we have deep in our core. And that's really what the advantage of meditation or intrinsic reflection is. That's its value, is instead of looking externally, we're looking internally. We're looking at what our beliefs are. Why do we believe it? How strongly do we believe it? Is there some squeezy space, right? And these are the things that we want to do with ourselves every day. every day there'll be new influences and new energies that are going to come in through our sights, through our sound, through the smells, taste, touch. All of these things are going to be bringing in this new influential energy that we need to evaluate. We need to look at and go, I don't know. Let's look at it, what it means, and what value does it have to me? Does it align with what my rocks already say? Right? So those are the kinds of things that helps us each and every day. So I would, if I may offer, think about your rocks. What are they? What are your values, your virtues, and your belief systems? And what I mean by a belief system is not simply the world is flat or the world is round. That's not a belief system. That's simply an understanding. Is it accurate? I've never been in space before, so I can't tell you what the Earth looks like from space. But I can see the pictures that they send. And the idea that we're round kind of makes sense if you think about rotational gravity and inner space. Kind of makes sense. But again, I have not been in space, so I can't tell you with authority that yes, the world is round. I'm not thinking about conspiracy theorists here. I'm simply saying, in this case, I have not been there, so I can't say authoritatively. Does it affect my world? No. I'm not a space traveler. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I can walk, the world is pretty flat. As you know, if I measure my house or I'm putting on a new deck and I'm using a level, it's pretty flat. Does that mean the whole world is flat? No. It means that my current function, it's flat. Doesn't mean it's nothing else. That's all it means, is that the amount of space that I just used to put my deck on was flat. That's all. My friends, a big part of what we should do each and every day as we set our minds to things in the morning, we put that set that mood ring in the right direction, we get that energy going. We should spend some time understanding who we are and why we are. Some things, and we have to remember always that we're changing. We're in a constant state of change. So have to keep all of these things aligned with who we are today. So the best way to do that, obviously, spend a little time with yourself. Make some notes. I love writing down things because it helps me. I can evaluate them 2 days from now or 3 days from now or 5 days from now. And I can see what's changed and why. So, all good ideas I hope you will investigate and use for yourself, figuring out where you are in your authentic self. So, check those things all out. I wish you the very best Julian New Year and look forward to speaking with you each and every morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Alaska time. And hopefully I provide you with some thoughts, just some ideas as to how you can take all of this super spiritual knowledge to understand who you are and where you are, and how that helps you better understand how you think, how you interpret the world around you. It's super critical to help you to understand how you think and how you process things, so that you can now align yourself with this authentic you. All right. So I wish you the very best. Today, of course, being Freya's Day. Hopefully, we've got the New Year, New You trap identified in our lives, and we're moving forward with living our authentic self, being who we are in our core, and recognizing that we have a responsibility of maintaining all of those rocks. So it's time to go gardening, right? All right, my friends, I wish you the very best Freya's Day. I hope that you get the rest and rejuvenation you need over the weekend. And we will see you again on Mani's Day, when we will discuss a new topic, hopefully giving you energy to move forward in this lifetime. Until then, my friends, As they say, God Morgan. Love and light.
Fulfilling-nos. Una. Hjälp oss med. Magnify. Tu för åg. Kaliot.
If what we've touched today hits something raw for you, you don't have to carry it alone. We offer a sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.